If you're over 60, you don't need long workouts. You only need 3 strength exercises to protect your bones, balance, and independence. Not more, not less. Most women believe strength disappears suddenly, with a fall or a fracture, but that's not how it really happens. In real life, strength fades quietly. You don't feel something break, you feel something change. Getting out of bed feels stiffer than it used to. Grocery bags seem heavier. Reaching behind your back feels awkward. Stepping onto uneven ground makes you hesitate for a second, and that hesitation matters. These are not random aches or normal aging pains. They are early warning signals that deep protective muscles are weakening. And when those muscles weaken, balance follows, bones follow, and confidence follows. I've spent decades working with women over 60, and I can tell you this clearly. Loss of independence almost never begins with a fall. It begins years earlier with muscle loss no one ever explained to you. Most advice focuses on staying active and walking more. And while walking is excellent for your heart, mood, and circulation, walking alone does not protect your bones, does not stop muscle loss, and does not train your body to recover when you stumble. That's not opinion, that's physiology. After age 60, women lose muscle mass faster than men, a process known as sarcopenia. And research shows adults over 60 can lose 1 to 2% of muscle mass every year, while strength declines even faster. At the same time, bone density decreases, and statistics consistently show that 1 in 2 women over 50 will experience an osteoporosis-related fracture in her lifetime. That sounds frightening, but here's the part that matters most. This decline is not inevitable, and it is not too late. What's missing from most guidance is resistance. Movement without resistance keeps you busy, but targeted resistance sends a clear message to your muscles and bones to stay strong. Your body is still listening. When muscle pulls on bone, bone responds by strengthening, and this response works well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. The problem isn't age, it's that no one showed you which muscles matter most, or how little time it actually takes. In this video, I am going to guide you through 3 specific strength exercises every woman over 60 should be doing. No gym, no expensive equipment, low risk, high return. Each exercise protects a different system. One supports bone strength and independence, one stabilizes balance during walking, and one retrains the nervous system to prevent falls. Stay with me, because the most important insight, the one that makes everything work better, comes at the end. Before we begin, share your age and where you're watching from in the comments. We read every single one. Now let's start with the first exercise, because this one surprises almost everyone. The first exercise looks ordinary, almost too simple to matter, and that's exactly why it's so often ignored. Yet in clinical settings, it's one of the most important strength movements we use for women over 60. It's called the sit-to-stand, sometimes referred to as a chair squat. And from an orthopedic perspective, it's not just an exercise. It's a functional strength test that reveals how well your body can protect itself. This movement primarily activates the quadriceps, the glute muscles, and the deep hip stabilizers, while the hamstrings, core, and even ankle muscles assist to keep you steady. These muscles control nearly every essential daily task: standing up from a chair, getting off the toilet, rising from a car seat, stabilizing yourself when you lean forward, or catching yourself when balance is briefly lost. When these muscles weaken with age, something subtle but dangerous happens. You start using momentum instead of strength. You push with your hands. You rock forward. You pause before standing. That pause isn't laziness or lack of effort. It's your nervous system sensing instability, and instability is where falls begin. Research following women between 65 and 80 showed that structured sit-to-stand training led to major improvements in lower body strength and meaningful reductions in fall risk markers without machines, without heavy weights, just this movement done correctly and consistently. Here's how to perform it safely and effectively. Stand in front of a sturdy chair with your feet about hip-width apart, toes facing forward. Before moving, gently brace your abdomen as if preparing to cough, just enough to wake up the core. Slowly push your hips back and bend your knees, lowering yourself toward the chair over 3 controlled seconds. Keep your chest tall and your weight through your heels. Lightly touch the chair without fully sitting. Then press through your feet and stand back up over 2 seconds, finishing tall without locking your knees. Start with 8 repetitions. Rest briefly, then complete one more set. That's enough to begin. This can be done 3 to 4 days per week. If balance feels uncertain, place the chair near a wall or counter and hover your hands nearby for reassurance, not support. As you get stronger, progress by increasing repetitions to 10 or 12. Then slowing the lowering phase to 4 seconds to increase time under tension, which strengthens both muscle and bone. This movement is recommended so often because it directly loads the hips and femur critical areas for fracture prevention, and it trains the exact pattern your body uses to recover from a stumble. Being able to stand up without assistance is one of the strongest predictors of long-term independence. And regaining this ability restores confidence, not through motivation, but through capability. If you notice you're using your hands every time you stand, that's not failure, it's information. And information is where improvement begins. If this is already giving you clarity, take a moment to like the video so more women can find it. And consider subscribing for science-based guidance focused on independence. Next, we'll move to an exercise that walking alone never trains. The muscles that protect your pelvis and spine when balance is challenged from the side. And this one quietly changes how stable you feel every time you take a step. The second exercise targets a problem most people don't realize until balance already feels shaky. And that's side-to-side stability. Most falls don't happen straight forward or backward. They happen when the body shifts unexpectedly to the left or right, stepping off a curb, turning too quickly, or walking on uneven ground. This exercise is the standing side leg raise, and clinically it strengthens the gluteus medius and gluteus minimus, 2 deep hip muscles that act like stabilizing cables for your pelvis. Every time you take a step, one leg supports your entire body weight. These muscles keep the pelvis level and the spine aligned during that moment. When they weaken, the pelvis drops slightly with each step. You may not notice it consciously, but it changes balance, stresses the knees and lower back, and makes it harder to recover when you're bumped or lose footing for a split second. Studies following women over 65 have shown that strengthening these lateral hip muscles leads to large improvements in balance control and single leg stability, directly translating to fewer falls and greater confidence while walking. Walking alone rarely trains these muscles enough because most steps are short and straight, never challenging side control. Here's how to do this movement safely and correctly. Stand next to a sturdy chair or countertop. Rest one hand lightly on it, not to hold your weight, but to calm the nervous system. Your standing leg stays tall but relaxed, knee soft, torso upright without leaning. Slowly lift the opposite leg out to the side, about 12 to 18 inches, no higher. Keep your toes facing forward the entire time, not turned outward. Lift over 2 seconds, pause briefly, then lower slowly over 3 seconds. The motion is small, but the work is deep. You should feel it on the side of your hip, not the front of your thigh. Begin with 8 repetitions on one side, then switch. 1 or 2 sets is enough to start, done about 3 days per week. If balance feels uncertain, reduce the range of motion. If fatigue appears quickly, that's expected. These muscles are often underused. Progress gradually by increasing repetitions to 10 or 12, then slowing the lowering phase to increase control. Eventually, you may try the movement with less hand support, but only when you feel ready. This exercise matters because it retrains pelvic control, the foundation of steady walking, reduces uneven stress through the hips and knees, and improves how your body responds when balance is challenged from the side. Many women stop trusting their balance before it's truly gone, shortening steps and avoiding uneven surfaces. This movement restores trust, not through encouragement, but through real strength. Now that we've strengthened the muscles that help you rise and stabilize the muscles that protect you side to side, there's one critical system left to address, the one that reacts before conscious thought and often decides whether a stumble becomes a fall. The final exercise brings muscles, bones, and the nervous system together, and it's the most important one of all. This final exercise is where everything comes together, and it's also the one most people quietly avoid because it exposes weakness instead of hiding it. The movement is single leg standing, done in a very controlled and intentional way. Medically, this is not just a balance drill. It's a neuromuscular integration exercise, meaning it trains how your brain, muscles, joints, and inner ear communicate in real time. The muscles involved include your ankle stabilizers, calves, quadriceps, deep hip muscles, and core. But the real star here is your proprioceptive system, your body's internal GPS. This system tells you where your body is in space without needing to look. As we age, proprioception doesn't suddenly disappear. It slowly fades, especially if it isn't challenged. Research tracking adults over 65 has shown that reduced single-leg balance time strongly predicts future falls, mobility loss, and declining confidence. This isn't about athletic balance, it's about reaction speed. When you trip, you don't think, you react. And reactions are either trained or they dull over time. Here's how to do this safely. Stand near a sturdy surface, like a counter or heavy chair. One hand hovers close, not gripping, just ready. Shift your weight onto one foot and feel the full contact of your sole with the floor. Slowly lift the other foot just a few inches, no need to lift high. Keep your eyes forward and your breathing calm. Hold for 10 seconds, then gently place the foot down and switch sides. Start with 3 rounds per leg. If 10 seconds feels difficult, begin with 5. That's not a setback, it's appropriate. Progress slowly by increasing to 15, then 20 seconds as control improves. Later, and only if balance feels secure, you can briefly reduce hand support or lightly close your eyes for a few seconds. This exercise matters because it sharpens communication between your brain and body, restores confidence from the inside out, and teaches your system how to correct itself when something unexpected happens. Weakness alone rarely causes falls. Delayed communication does. This movement retrains that response. Now take a moment and notice something important. Together, these 3 exercises address the exact systems that quietly decline with age. The first protects your ability to stand, sit, and move independently. The second stabilizes your pelvis and spine during walking. The third trains your nervous system to react quickly and keep you upright. And none of them require a gym, expensive equipment, or long workouts. Just minutes, done consistently. Before we wrap up, let me ask you this. If you had to choose just one of these to start today, which one would it be? Drop that in the comments. We read every single one, and your response helps others realize they're not alone. And if this is helping you see strength training differently, take a second to like this video so more adults over 60 can find it. In the final part, I'll explain why doing less, but doing it correctly, often leads to better results than chasing more activity. Here's the part most people never hear, and it's why so many well-meaning seniors stay active yet continue to feel weaker every year. More activity is not always the answer. Better signals are. Your body doesn't respond to how busy you are. It responds to what you ask it to adapt to. Walking, stretching, staying generally active all have benefits, but they don't send a strong enough message to preserve muscle, bone, and balance. After 60, targeted resistance does, and the good news is, that signal doesn't require long workouts or pushing to exhaustion. In fact, too much fatigue can backfire by increasing injury risk and reducing consistency. What works best at this stage of life is focused effort, short duration, and regular repetition. When you perform these 3 exercises with intention, controlled tempo, and good form, you're telling your body something very specific. Stay strong, stay responsive, stay upright. That message is powerful. Bones respond by maintaining density where muscles pull. Muscles respond by retaining strength and coordination. The nervous system responds by sharpening reaction speed and balance control. This is why these movements are used in orthopedic rehab, fall prevention programs, and longevity research. Not because they look impressive, but because they work. Let's talk about how to put this into a realistic routine. You don't need to do all 3 every day. 2 to 3 sessions per week is enough. On one day, you might focus on the sit to stand and side leg raises. On another day, you combine sit to stand with single leg balance. Each session can take 10 to 15 minutes total. That's it. Consistency beats intensity every time. Missing a week occasionally won't undo progress, but quitting because a routine feels overwhelming will. Start where you are, not where you think you should be, and listen to your body. Not fear, not motivation quotes, but real signals like fatigue, soreness, and confidence. Mild muscle soreness is normal. Sharp pain is not. If balance feels uncertain, reduce range or use light support. Progression should feel challenging, but controlled, never rushed. Here's an important reframe. Strength training after 60 is not about building a new body. It's about protecting the one you rely on every day. Getting up from a chair without thinking, walking without hesitation, stepping sideways without fear, catching yourself when you stumble. These are the moments that define independence, not gym numbers or step counts. And this is why doing less, but doing it correctly, often produces better long-term results than chasing more activity. Before we close, I want you to pause and reflect for a second. If no one ever explained this to you before, that's not your fault. Most people were told to stay active, not to stay strong. But now you know better. And knowledge changes outcomes when it's applied gently and consistently. If this video gave you clarity or confidence, share it with someone who has been told to just walk more but still doesn't feel steady. They deserve better information. Subscribe if you want more. Science-based guidance, focused on strength, balance, and independence after 60. And remember, your body is still listening. The right message, repeated a few times each week, can make a real difference. Let's close this by putting everything into perspective. Because this is where mindset matters just as much as movement. Aging does not mean your body stops adapting. It means it adapts more specifically to what you practice. If you practice caution, avoidance, and only gentle movement, your body learns fragility. If you practice controlled strength, balance, and resistance, your body learns resilience. That's not motivation, that's physiology. The 3 exercises you learned are not random. They were chosen because they protect the exact abilities that quietly disappear. First, standing up without help, staying stable when your weight shifts, and reacting fast enough to prevent a fall. These are the abilities that allow people to live independently, confidently, and on their own terms. And the truth is, most loss of independence doesn't begin with a dramatic injury. It begins years earlier with small compromises. Using your hands to stand, avoiding uneven ground, hesitating before stepping sideways. Those moments feel minor, but they are signals that the body needs a clearer message. And now you know how to send it. You don't need perfection. You don't need to do everything at once. Even choosing one of these exercises and doing it consistently can start changing how your body feels and responds. Strength builds quietly. Confidence follows strength, not the other way around. Over time, you may notice standing feels easier, walking feels steadier, and everyday tasks require less effort. That's progress, and it compounds. If you're watching this and thinking, I wish I had started earlier, remember this. The best time to start was years ago. The second best time is today. Your future mobility depends far more on what you do next than what you didn't do before. So start small, stay consistent. Respect your body, but don't underestimate it. It is far more capable than most people are led to believe after 60. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Which of the 3 exercises are you most likely to start with this week? Leave that in the comments. Your answer might encourage someone else who's feeling unsure. If you found value here, like this video so more adults can find it. And subscribe for more clear, science-based guidance designed to help you stay strong, steady, and independent. We're not here to scare you about aging. We're here to help you move through it with confidence, one intentional rep at a time.